Okay, so a few of you asked for help on taking effective notes and ways to read the textbook better so you guys can perform better on the reading quizzes. So here are some thoughts to kind of help you out. I'm using the beginning of chapter 16 in Strayer Ways of the World to get you started, since that's about where we are in the curriculum right now. So tools that you need. You're going to need your textbook, obviously, a notebook or loose leaf paper, sticky notes if you prefer writing with sticky notes. Some people may just prefer scrap paper, but the sticky notes kind of help with organization. I'll show you that in a minute. And then pen or pencil. Your first step, read over the section. You're going to take notes on major information, and I'm not talking like take sentences, I'm talking bullet points, quick thoughts on summarizing the information that you're reading. Each section in the book has a nice little red headline. Any textbook will be the same way. And underneath that, you'll have a set number of paragraphs that will describe that topic that it's organized into. So I'm going to demonstrate that in just a minute. But you're going to want to write down dates, any important people, vocabulary, any major points, anything that you think might be important or that you think might end up on a test. Or even potentially could be an essay question or evidence towards an essay. So for example here, I started with the beginning of chapter 16. The first red heading was about the Atlantic revolutions in a global context. And as I read through, I started to, in each paragraph, kind of notice key themes. So on each of my sticky notes, I wrote bullet points about each of those themes or major thoughts. And some of them included major continuities or changes of that time period, or even just basic information. So you can see after I wrote the sticky note, I put it into the textbook, which a lot of you guys, you can just put it on the side of your packets if that's how you have it. But I wrote out the sticky note, that I put it into the book. And then as I keep reading, I keep flipping the page and including the more sticky notes. So you can see as I've flipped through the section, so all on Atlantic revolutions, the edge of my book is full of sticky notes because all I've been doing is writing new sticky notes with the major facts. Now that I'm done with the sticky notes, or now that I'm done with that section that I had to read, the next step is to go ahead and rewrite the notes. You're going to organize the sticky notes or the paper. It depends on how you personally best organize your thoughts. If you best organize your thoughts by specifically vocabulary, specifically changes, continuities, whatever it is that makes your brain tick, organize that way. My way of organization is not going to work for everybody, just like your way of organization is not going to work for everybody either. You're going to want to rewrite all of your sticky notes on your notebook paper in an organized manner. So if you look at my notebook here, I started to outline. So I put the title of the chapter all the way at the top of the paper. I put what unit it's part of or what period, and that just helps me as I go through my notes and flip through, and I'm like, oh, okay, good. Now I'm on unit 5 instead of unit 4 anymore. Then any major heading, I write down as a title heading, and I write the page number down. That way, if I really don't understand what I'm saying in my notes, I can flip back to it in the textbook if need be. Then I write down anything that I can see, like in the margins. I saw AP exam tips, and that was like, oh, okay, maybe I might want to know this to come back and study it. Then underneath it, I write my sticky notes in however I feel like organizing it. I organized it in just chronological order throughout the chapter because that was the easiest way for me to understand it. So, and then I highlighted based on what I thought might help. So on this page, you can see that I thought that this was potential essay contextualization because it told me what was going on in that period that related back to the Atlantic revolutions. So it can give me the big picture of what's going on. Then on this page, you can see I continued. I marked one of the guided reading questions, wrote some notes to answer it myself, and then I continued my notes and also wrote again about that synthesis connection, which would help towards argument development. After you've taken all these notes, the basic thing to do is reread them and study them. You're not going to be able to memorize all the facts just by simply reading the chapter and not actively engaging yourself in the chapter. You have to take ownership and not only read, but take the notes and then study the notes. Because if you only just take the notes, you're only getting part of the way there. You've got to go all the way, reread them, study them. And I'm not talking about study them the night before the test. I'm talking constantly be rereading them. Every day after class, go back, compare your notes to the textbook notes that you've taken. Be like, hey, I remember hearing about this. My teacher really focused on this. So maybe this is something that's going to be really, really important in the long run. So those are some just helpful hints and tricks that I have. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or just ask me in class.